So today I have a bit of an adventure here. This is a massive Burl, which I harvested off a grey gum that had fallen over in a storm a couple of years ago. The grey gum itself was huge. It was at least 8-9 foot diameter at the base. The roots had ripped up out of the ground and they were sticking up in the air really high. It was a very cool place to be and a very interesting thing to look at. I'm not sure how this is going to go because if I flip it over, this center bit here is fairly rotten. The outside looks pretty solid though, so I'm kind of hoping that I'll get a shallow bowl out of it, a large shallow bowl. So what I'm going to do is move this over to the extension bed and cut it down to size, and we'll see if we can get something out of this. I'm kind of hoping that this back section I can leave some of it because it just looks very cool. There's something living in there. Yeah, this might be an opportunity to do a bit of a rough and ready turn. Keep it really rustic and yeah, we'll see how we go.
To get this project started, I need to establish a flat edge, so I'm using the chainsaw here just to rough cut a flat edge on the back, and then I'm going to clean that up so that I can get it flat as I can for a very large face plate. I decided for safety I'm going to use extremely large screws and go deep into the wood. So it's going to create some holes on the underside which I'm going to have to deal with in some way, but that's going to be a problem for later. So now that I've got this piece cut down where I can fit it on my lathe, I can move all the gear over to the extension bed at the end, get that set up and give it a test spin. With these type of projects, there's a lot of material to remove and it's a bit off balance, so it's a slow and steady process here. I've obviously sped this up quite a lot so that we can move through this. This wood is very old and obviously there's some rotten components there, so unfortunately the shavings were coming off as kind of large pieces of sawdust instead of nice quills of wood. You can see here in real time what I'm dealing with. However, I was pretty pleased with how it was cutting. It was going reasonably quickly and I was able to do pretty aggressive rough cuts to get this down to the shape I wanted. You can see that white section of rot there is very soft. The chisel goes into it quite easily, so I'm going to need to get a lot of that out of there. It's slow and steady on the backside as well. My first cut was all air, just so that I could get a sense of where the wood was, and then we start cutting slow and steady as we go. Got the gloves on for this project. It was quite a violent turn. There was stuff going everywhere, so I wanted to protect my pinkies. stopping to inspect regularly just to see how much I've taken off and how far down I want to go, bearing in mind that I do want to keep some of this external natural bark edge if I can. It's about this point I decided that I was going to essentially just ignore the fact that there are holes in the bottom that need to be managed. I was really pleased with the shape, and I knew that I was going to have to go very deep to get rid of the rot, so I just established the bowl shape here and decided at this point maybe it was safest to keep that material on the bottom and not sacrifice that to remove the hole. Once roughing out the inside, my goal here was to remove as much of that rotten wood as I could. I was intending on keeping this bowl nice and chunky, just given the condition of the wood, the cracks and whatnot. I didn't want to go too thin on it because I thought maybe it would fall apart. It's kind of amusing to find this section in the middle, which I was able to just pull out with my hand. Okay, now it's time to remove the tail stock and get it out of the way so that I can get that center section turned down. Really happy with how it's holding on the faceplate. There hasn't been any movement, so I feel pretty safe turning this large bowl shape. So this is about as far down as I can go for safety. There's still a little bit of that rotten section there, so I'm going to bring out my trusty Arbortech ball gouge and just go to work doing a bit of carving. The goal here is just to get rid of the majority of that white stuff. It's all kind of loose and flaky anyway. Just want to get down to some hard wood. So it's about this point when I was sanding, I was thinking about how much material I've removed, and I kind of wondered how much can you remove and still call this thing a bowl? Perhaps maybe you can leave a comment and tell me what you think. Is this still a bowl, or have I removed so much that the bowl is no longer a bowl? It's obviously not going to pass the soup test. But yeah, interested to hear your thoughts. I'm a bit on the fence about it. I'm not sure. because of the high level of character of this bowl, I decided painting on some Danish oil was probably going to be the best approach for a finish. I'm very close to being able to monetize, which is really exciting. I'm very appreciative of all the support that I've received. If you're liking this video, please hit the like button to get the algo firing. And if you would consider subscribing, that would put me one step closer to being able to monetize. That'd be great. So here's the bowl after one coat of Danish oil. It's still oil. It's still hasn't fully dried, and so there's a bit of shininess there. But you can see what I was saying. I'm not sure if this is even classed as a bowl anymore because of the amount I've removed. But I'm quite pleased with how it looks. It has a very kind of interesting, unique look to it. Okay, let's check out the spreadsheet and see how much I could sell this for. Going through the costs. So I didn't pay anything for the wood. However, given the size and rarity of the piece, I would like to attribute some value to the wood. I'm just going to put in $50 here. Haven't used any resin on this project. Other materials, there wasn't much at all, just really some sandpaper and wear and tear. I'm just going to put $10 in. So how was to produce? This didn't take as long as some of my other projects because I didn't have to spend as much time refining the outside, which usually is the bulk of the time, the sanding and whatnot. So I think all up it was about around 5 hours. So if I put on my hourly rate, let's see, what can we go? Let's try a plumber. So this bowl, $365 would get me the hourly rate of a plumber. Maybe. Let's go down the list a little bit. Down to dishwasher. Okay, that gets it under the $300 mark. Barista, checkout operator. $255. I actually think that's reasonable, given where I sell these products, being in an art gallery. So yeah, I think that's good. Checkout operator, hourly rate, nice. Please leave a comment, share your thoughts. If you think this is a piece of garbage, by all means say so. You won't hurt my feelings. Thanks.
There's some dude out there blowing leaves. Please stop. Stop. Mm-hmm.